What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and breaking news coming out this morning as the House of Representatives just passed the Stimulus Reconciliation Bill. And this is your stimulus and infrastructure bill update as of today, November 19th, 2021. Now, let's take a look at the video footage of what just happened a little while ago, earlier this morning, as this finally passed.
The yeas are 220. The nays are 213. The Build Back Better bill is passed.
So there you have it, you guys, and now we're seeing articles coming out like this morning. House narrowly passed Biden's social safety net and climate bill. Now, this was supposed to happen late last night. For those of you that follow me here on the channel, you saw I did that video update, and I shared with you live video footage of the House of Representatives as they were debating before they were supposed to vote. And I shared with you Kevin McCarthy saying that he was concerned about this bill adding to our nation's inflation and debt and all the concerns that he had with it. Well, before I went to bed last night, I decided to check in again, and he was still going. Turns out he actually set the record last night for the longest magic minute ever in the House of Representatives. And I've got the video footage for you, as you can see what unfolded late last night as he delayed that and successfully stalled the vote until this morning. Now, as you saw, though, it did pass. And now it's going to be moving on to the Senate. Now, the question is, as it goes on to the Senate, will it get all of the Democratic senators' support to pass through, including Senator Joe Manchin? Well, we got word this morning from Pramila Jayapal, and she's saying she believes he's going to be getting on board. And this is despite the fact that last night we also received the CBO score on this Build Back Better bill. And we're hearing that it is not fully paid for. It will be adding to the nation's debt. And we actually saw one moderate Democrat in the House decide to vote against the bill. Now, will Senator Joe Manchin get on board to pass it through? Now, I've got all the details for you. I've got video footage. We're going to dive right in, get you caught up on the latest with the path forward on this. But first, just wanted to say also, thank you so much for all the support on the second channel that's going to be launching, Steve Ram Finance. If you're interested in growing wealth, learning about personal finance, real estate, stocks, crypto, starting businesses, consider joining that channel as well. I'll pin a comment down below. All you got to do is click the link, go to the channel, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And once we start launching content on there, you'll be able to get tons of information about personal finance. But let's go ahead and dive right in. And first, though, do me a favor, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Just takes a second. Leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay up to date. And if you got any specific questions that you want me to answer, shoot me a DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. And first, let's start off with this record-breaking speech that came out from Kevin McCarthy late last night and didn't finish until 5 a.m. this morning.
Good evening. I'm Chris Jansing in for Brian Williams, day 303 of the Biden administration. And tonight there is breaking news on Capitol Hill, a very late night for the House, which was expected to vote on Joe Biden's sprawling $1.75 trillion domestic plan hours ago. But what we've seen so far tonight is a marathon effort to stall the vote from Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. He's been talking for right around 2.5 hours now, periodically interrupted by jeers from the Democrats. Here's a sampling of what he's had to say about the president's Build Back Better plan.
You know what Americans you're going after? 1/2 of those 1.2 million are people who earn $75,000 or less. That's what you're trying to pay this bill from. House is not in order, Mr. Speaker.
House will be in order.
That as Americans, we're supposed to expect less. I can look anywhere I want, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I cannot believe the amount of control one-party rule wants. They now want to dictate to a member of the floor of where I can look?
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but I mean, all right, so that was 2.5 hours in. Now take a look at a little over 3 hours in.
Manu, good evening to you. Very latest on the vote for the president's social safety net package. What do you have?
Oh, it's uncertain because Kevin McCarthy is on the floor. They don't have filibusters in the Senate, in the House, but he's performing what is essentially a filibuster, which is under the procedures in the House. The majority leader and minority leader have what's called the magic minute. They're given 1 minute to speak, but they really can speak for as long as they want, and that is exactly what Kevin McCarthy is doing. He started at 8:38 p.m. Eastern time. We are now past 11 o'clock on the East, and he is still going, and there's no clear sign about exactly when he will speak, but he can go for as long as he wants. So the question is, will he try to go as long as Nancy Pelosi did when she was minority leader back in 2018, when she spoke for 8 hours on the House floor during a time where she was protesting the issue of immigration. But here, McCarthy is railing on the Democrats' plans, railing on the Biden agenda, talking about everything from Afghanistan to defunding the police, you name it. Kevin McCarthy is going after it, but it's not going to change the outcome here. The Democratic leaders are expected to have the votes to actually pass this bill that they have negotiated in strenuously for months. This has been a very difficult negotiation, but they believe they are there to get it out of the House. One Democrat, a moderate from Maine, Jared Golden, who's in a swing district, says he will vote against it. But that is the only Democrat that we know at the moment who is a no vote. The Democratic leadership can only afford to lose 3 votes to get it done. They expect they'll get that eventually when this happens. So when McCarthy wraps up, that's when Nancy Pelosi is expected to speak. And then after, we will get into a series of votes that will lead to the final passage vote.
He went for over 8 hours, and when he finally wrapped up, the Republicans gave him a standing ovation for setting the record for the longest speech on the House floor. Take a look, you guys.
This evening showed that no matter the time, the day, or the circumstances, House Republicans will always fight for you, fight for your family, and fight for our country. With that, Madam Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. Pursuant to Clause 1C of Rule 19, further consideration of H.R. 5376 is postponed.
So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that you could speak for over 8.5 hours without having to use the restroom or get any food or water? Let me know your thoughts, but he successfully stalled it. But then this morning we saw it pass, and we are seeing articles like this. And this is going to give us a little bit more detail. House narrowly passed Biden's social safety net and climate bill. And it says the House on Friday narrowly passed the centerpiece of President Biden's domestic agenda, approving $2 trillion in spending over the next decade to battle climate change, expand healthcare, and reweave the nation's social safety net over the unanimous opposition that came from Republicans. Now, the bill's passage was 220 to 213 and came after weeks of cajoling, arm-twisting, and legislative legerdemain by Democrats. And it was capped off by an exhausting, circuitous, record-breaking speech of more than 8 hours by the House Republican leader, Representative Kevin McCarthy of California, that pushed a planned Thursday vote past midnight, then delayed it to Friday morning, but did nothing to dent the Democratic unity. Now, groggy lawmakers reassembled at 8 a.m. 3 hours after Mr. McCarthy finally abandoned the floor to begin the final series of votes to send one of the most consequential pieces of legislation in half a century to the Senate. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi opened the final push with what she called a courtesy to her colleagues. I will be brief. She then put the House's action in lofty terms. And as you saw, it did pass in the House of Representatives, and it will now be moving on to the Senate, where we're hearing after Thanksgiving, they're going to be taking this up, and it will likely be significantly modified. Now, as we mentioned, we have the CBO scores on this, and we're going to see if Senator Joe Manchin is going to be willing to get on board, despite the fact that it is now being revealed that this will add to the debt. But take a look, you guys. 1 minute ago from the time of this recording, Progressive Caucus Chair says that she feels very good on how the spending bill will return from the Senate. Congressional Progressive Progressive Caucus Chair Representative Pramila Jayapal said that she feels very good about the spending bill and that it will return from the Senate looking much like it does now, despite not being given assurance from Senator Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema as she has wanted. Now, there was a framework that was agreed to, Jayapal said, before the Build Back Better bill was passed in the House. The vast majority of the bill is pre-conferenced with Senator Manchin and Sinema, and I have had my own conversations with them, but this is, and again, a place where President Biden has shown tremendous leadership. Now, there are a few things that aren't pre-conferenced, she added, and we'll have to work those out, but I believe through my own conversations with those senators, as well as the president's own commitment that he is confident that we will get the 51 votes, that we're going to get this done and get it done before Christmas, hopefully in the first weeks of December. And people are going to see once again that the government's got your back. And that's the Democrats in the House, the Senate, and the White House, and they'll deliver for the people. Now, Jayapal, she did not elaborate, though, on what in the bill was not pre-conferenced. And so now this is going to be moving on to the Senate, and we're going to be seeing if Senator Joe Manchin is going to be supporting this as well. And for those of you that follow me here on the channel, you saw that late last night, those CBO scores were given out, and it was revealed that it is not fully paid for, that this is going to be adding to the nation's debt. However, a lot of news media outlets said that the amount is not really that significant, and moderates should be able to get on board. And take a look here. Here's just the final number from a report that came out last night. And it means that the CBO thinks that this bill will raise the deficit by only $160 billion. So we're going to see if Joe Manchin's okay with that. So there you have it, you guys. Breaking news coming out this morning, and a lot of news going out throughout the night. And we have finally passed this in the House of Representatives. Now, this still has some ways to go, as we mentioned, with the Senate and modifications that have to be made. But we'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel, and that is the latest on the stimulus reconciliation bill. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button. Helps me out a ton. Leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. You can come join the Ram fam, and consider joining the second channel if you'd like to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. Steve Ram Finance. I will pin a comment down below. And if you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.